Alright guys, going to do another message on the move today. This is the World Class Happiness channel, as you know, so I like to keep everything as happy and positive as possible. And because of that, really, I've kept away from the whole COVID and vaccine debate as much as I can. But you know, obviously that's becoming a real hot topic for people, and people are getting to positions now where they're kind of being forced into making choices. And because of that, that's kind of causing a lot of arguments between people and very heated debates and stuff. And it's dividing people, and that's not good. That's a negative thing, and that's not something that we want. We want to try and keep everything positive and keep people happy and keep people supporting one another and talking to one another in a positive way. And so I want to try and put my spin on it a little bit and try and help people to think about it in a slightly different way, hopefully. Now, I don't really care what side of the fence you're on. It's not, you know, I haven't got anything against anyone, whether you've had COVID, haven't had COVID, whether you've had a vaccine, whether you haven't had a vaccine. I'm cool with everyone, really, because everyone has their own views, everyone has their own reasons for doing things. So I ain't got a problem with anyone on either side of the fence, and I'm also very close to people on both sides of the fence. So it's made it quite difficult for me, and that's why I'm kind of emotionally involved in it in a way. For me personally, I'll tell you where I am. Pretty bang in the middle, really, and I really don't know what to think. Same as I think a lot of other people. I'll tell you, I've had my vaccines. I've had 2 vaccines. Really didn't know whether to take them or not, just because I wasn't sure if I felt it was the right thing to do, or whether it was the right thing to do. I really didn't know. I was unsure, and you know, clearly that's the best thing for being able to do stuff, what you would think. Although that's proving slightly different nowadays, because some people are, even though they've had vaccines, are still being prevented from doing certain things or at certain times. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to think about the actual rights and wrongs of it. Obviously I'm going to be due a booster fairly soon. I don't really know whether I want to kind of get it or whether I certainly want to get it straight away, just because, you know, I saw a post on Facebook today, and people might go, oh, Facebook, what's that all about? But I know this is true because I know somebody, you know, well, I'll tell you what it is. I saw a post today from somebody saying that there's, I don't know what it was, so many thousands, lots of thousands of people, 75,000, might even be 175,000, can't remember, but that amount of people who are being refused cancer treatments and stuff like that, or important treatments for certain things, when their priority is to give boosters and, you know, get healthy people boosted, if you like, when there's people who are in need and do need treatment. You know, the people being boosted, the healthy people, if you like, are being put in front of those people as a priority, and I would be one of those people. And I'm being told from many people that you need to get your vaccines to do the right thing, and that kind of, you know, the post I saw today suggests otherwise. It suggests almost the opposite. But the fact that if we're queuing up for boosters or vaccines in the first place when we're healthy people, we're actually taking the place of people who aren't healthy, and I don't necessarily think that's right. So I really don't know the rights and wrongs of it. However, I'm not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong, because I don't know. I'm here to try and put a slightly better perspective on it. First of all, if you're worried about getting COVID and you're vaccinated, double vaccinated, then, you know, and you know, you're careful when you go out, you maybe wear a mask, you maybe keep your distance from people, then to be honest, I don't think you've got really too much to worry about, to be perfectly honest. And if you are still worried, and you are worried about getting it and worried about dying, then possibly you're questioning whether the vaccine is the right thing. Because I also saw a post about, you know, if there was a contraceptive vaccine and at the end of it you could still get pregnant and you still had to wear a condom, would you bother getting it? And that, and although that was a bit of a maybe, you know, it's more comical post, it's kind of true in a way, and it makes you think, well, yeah, is it all working as well as they're saying? And you know, what is the point of us all queuing up and getting it? And I think initially the vulnerable people who got it did that and would have, you know, made the right choice. My parents got it, they were in their 70s, and I thought that was the right choice. I wasn't quite so certain for me, but I had it as well. I'm certainly not so sure in terms of my children, especially when you're hearing stories about, you know, heart issues and blood clots and stuff like that. It does make you wonder. However, this is where I try and put a more positive spin on things. Okay, so obviously if you're a person who's worried about COVID and stuff like that, you will probably be the sort of person who watches the BBC News all the time. You read newspapers, you're listening to the people on the TV, you're listening to people who you believe are, you know, the right people, the politicians, the scientists, the you know, the people who are telling you need to get a vaccine, blah blah blah, and you're being told that, and that's the narrative that you're hearing all the time. You would very much be on the side of we all need to get vaccinated, and you're only really being fed that pretty much all the time. And even if you're on social media and stuff, you're probably being fed all that stuff, and you're seeing the same things and the same narrative over and over again. However, if you're on the other side of the fence and you believe that it's all about money and control and power, and you know, it's nothing to do with COVID, and you know, even some people might even believe that they're trying to get rid of a number of the population by, you know, I'm talking extreme things now, and maybe there's not that many people who think that, but there are people out there who think that basically they're trying to kill some of us. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily buy into that, but there's people on either sides of the fence, and there's extreme opinions on both sides. But this is how I try and deal with it. What are you actually seeing? Not on social media, not on the BBC News, not what your friends are telling you. What are you actually seeing? How many people do you actually know who died of COVID? And now I obviously realise that some of you may have lost people who got COVID and died. I obviously realise there might be some of you who have had vaccines and had problems, or know of somebody who even died as a result, or you believe as a result of the vaccine. You know, people have clots and had strokes and stuff like that, and you believe that that's possibly because of the vaccines and stuff. And there doesn't really appear to be a great deal of evidence either way. You know, we're seeing footballers holding their chests, and there's maybe been about 5 or 6, 7 footballers very recently who have kind of been clutching their chests and having breathing problems and possible heart issues and stuff like that, and that didn't seem to happen not that long ago. So you can kind of understand why people are on either side of the fence. I can understand from both points of view. So what I try and do is look from my point of view. How many people do I know who died of COVID? Well, actually none. One I actually know of, and you know, I don't know what his background. I don't know his medical background. Put it that way. One person. How many people do I know who've had issues with a vaccine? Maybe one, but you know, there's others who have spoken about it. But let's just get it straight. Either way, whether we're talking about COVID or whether we're talking about a vaccine, virtually none. Seriously, anyway. Of course, I know people who have had COVID. Some people have said, "Oh, it's horrible. You know, I struggled to breathe and I felt like I was dying and stuff like that." But how many people get flu bad and they feel like they're dying, but they know, oh well, I've just got normal flu, I'll get over it in a week or whatever. It's just the fact that we've labelled it as COVID, then you sort of think to yourself, oh, I was in real danger, and maybe you weren't. So in reality, people aren't generally, fit, healthy people aren't dying of COVID. As much as, you know, you'll get sent something from somebody or through social media, and that will say, oh, this young, fit, healthy person died of COVID, and this young, fit, healthy person had complications with a vaccine. But let's be honest, we don't know the background. We don't really know the story behind it. We don't know whether people are saying died with COVID or of COVID, or whether they're exaggerating on vaccine issues and stuff like that. We just don't know. So what are you actually seeing? What do you actually see in your world around you, in the real world? Not on TV, not on the news, not in newspapers, not on social media. What are you actually seeing? From my personal point of view, I'm not seeing anyone die of COVID. I'm not seeing anyone having vaccine issues. So what are we worried about? What are we actually fighting about? What are we arguing about? So the bottom line is, and this is now, you know, this is now, and they're saying there's still 5 million people unvaccinated in this country. As far as I'm concerned, that's up to them. I don't really think that's an issue. I think that should be their choice whether they get vaccinated or not. And I think there are, you know, if people wanted to get vaccinated and they want boosters, that's up to them too. You know, regardless of what I said earlier, if you want to queue up for your booster because you believe that that's the right thing to do, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that, because you believe that you're doing the right thing and you're going by the guidance you've been given. So that's fair enough. You can justify that. If you can't justify that and you feel like, you know, your body, your choice and all that, what's wrong with that either? What's wrong with that? Because at the moment, the way it stands at the moment, I can't see, you know, millions and millions of people dying of COVID. I can't see millions and millions of people dying of a vaccine. Whatever you believe should be what you're allowed to go with. I don't believe we should have people forced out of jobs. I don't believe we should have people forced to get passports. You know, I don't think we should stop people doing stuff. If people are afraid, wear a mask. If people are afraid, you know, keep your distance. If you're really afraid, don't go out. Okay. But my advice is that we've got nothing to worry about, because if you actually look in your real world, there's nothing actually really too scary. Even if you have lost a loved one, how many other people do you know other than that person? Maybe you were just unlucky, and that doesn't make it any better. I know that. But at the end of the day, you need to be realistic about things, and you know, I don't think we should ever force people to do stuff because we believe that that's right. That's no different to, you know, we all seem to be on the same page as far as terrorism and stuff is concerned. You know, people from ISIS and Al Qaeda and stuff like that are trying to make us believe certain things and force us to do certain things and act a certain way. And because of it, they you know, they make people do stuff in a way that they don't want to be made to do it, and we all think that's terrible. We all think that's not right. However, this seems to be fine. You know, this seems to be all right for people to be forced into things, forced out of jobs, forced to take things that they don't want. You know, that's quite abusive, really, as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's my opinion. That's my opinion, and as most of you know, I'm not. Yeah, I don't think I'm the most intelligent person on the planet, but I think I do generally see sense in a lot of things. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm just putting my side across, and if you do think that makes sense, then maybe you can, you know, maybe think about it in a slightly different way, or talk to people in a slightly different way. Because at the end of the day, that's all I'm really trying to do is just try and help people look at things in a better light, have a more positive outlook on things, be a little bit kinder to people, be a bit nicer to people, be a bit more tolerant of people, and that's the message, really. It's still about happiness. It's still about you know, being kind, which is all what this channel's about. So regardless of whether it's about COVID or vaccines and subjects that get people riled up and get people hot under the collar, really it's the same message as always, really. So hopefully I haven't upset anyone, and hopefully you're all still super happy, and I'll record another video another time.